Okay, hi students. Today I'm going to introduce the lectures for the second week. So before that, I want to say thank you for your efforts in the first week because uh, before I started taking this video, I checked your performance on my programming lab and it is fantastic. Most students have finished that in a very great way. So if you keep this performance, definitely you will get a decent grade from this course. And because yes, that is your efforts, you deserve it. And also, I think so far I received two extension requests from the students asking for a couple of more days on the homework. It is absolutely fine. So in the future, feel free to send them to me. But please briefly explain the reason behind that so that I can give you an extension. Okay, today we're going to go through the topics of how to use and create a class. So what is a class in Java? Is mainly discussed in chapter 3. And in chapter 3, there are a lot of topics like how to create an object, then how to use the string class, some the other two very popular and important classes are random and math. Here in chapter 2, you don't have to you don't have to go through these two sub chapters because they're not that important. They're basically how to design UI for in Java, but it's not necessary for you. So far you can just focus on the first six sub chapters and so before I go into the details of that, I think I had better give you a view of what is a class in Java. For example, because I'm a car fan, so I would like to use car as an example. Suppose, okay, you are the designer for maybe Toyota or something, and they ask you to design, okay, say. For example, they ask you to design a new Highlander for them, okay? And then as the designer, you basically need to give a template for them, okay? You say, okay, new Highlander. Let me use a different color, okay? Say you want to design a Highlander, and basically your design is a template for them to produce cars, okay? So your Highlander should include the following features. For example, it should come with a V6 engine. It should come with a 8-gear transmission, okay? And it also should come, let's say, a 20-inch wheel, etc. Okay, and this is you basically design the template for them to make cars. So after so we can say this is a template, okay? And after that, okay, after you finish the design, just need to pass this template or the design to Toyota. So Toyota can follow this template to produce Highlander 1, 2, 3. So these are just, let's say they produce 1 million vehicles. Okay, each of them is just to follow the template that you give to them. Okay, so in Java, okay, before that you can see, okay, this is the design, or this template. This on the left hand side we have the design template. On the right hand side we have different instances of the template. Okay, so each instance is basically a particular car that are made by Toyota following this design. Okay, in Java we have the same style. Okay, so the template is called class. Again, here when you design, you say, okay, I'm going to design a class whose name, let's say, is Highlander. Okay, and then each one is coming with a engine or whatever, and then on the right hand side, okay, so they are going to produce a lot of cars based on your class, and we call each of them, or each instance is an object. So it can create Highlander, let's say V1. V1 means the first vehicle, Highlander V2, Highlander V3, etc., etc. So yes, so basically you can say that class is a design or is a template for us to create objects. Like in the real world, we have template to create instances. Okay, so this is the high level idea behind the class and object, and in the first sub chapter. So in chapter 3, basically the authors want to use the string class and the random and math class in order for you to teach how to create those objects following some existing class. Okay, and each of these so there's 3 existing class, which are the string, and then the random and math class. So what is a string? In last in chapter 1 or chapter 2, I don't remember exactly, or perhaps in chapter 2, we learned a data type called a primitive data type called char, right? Character. So a character can be something like A or B or C or D, E, F, G, whatever. But the limitation in char is that, okay, it can only include one character. But what if that you have a whole sentence to represent? You want to store a whole sentence in a variable, so which includes a sequence of characters. So what kind of like data types can you use to store a sentence of characters? So you need to rely on something called string. So here we have string. String is a class that for us to store and manipulate a sequence of characters. So for example, here we can say we have string str equal to ABCDEFG. So you can include as many characters as you want in the in a string. Okay, and also there are 2 ways for us to manipulate a string. So the first way is like this. We call it a constant way, because so you basically assign a constant ABCDEFG to a variable called str. This is pretty much like this way. Okay, character C equal to character A. Okay, that is so the traditional way that we use. But there is a different way, that is to create an object. Remember, string is a class or is a template, so we can follow this template to create different objects, and each object can have a different value. So the other way to create a new string is like this. Okay, first we declare that we declare a variable whose type is title. Okay, sorry, whose type is string. The variable name is title, and then we have title equal to new string, Java software solutions. Okay, so with this new is like I want to create a new. So you are telling Java that I want to create a new object whose type is string, and the value stored in this string is Java software solutions. And after we created this new object, we want to assign it to the variable whose type is string. Okay, so this is how we create an object. Okay, and so here in a class, okay, in a Java class, we can not only store the different values, but also we can just do some manipulation. So this manipulation over these values are through something called a function. Okay, so here you can have a function. Say you want to have a void function. Say, okay, I want to change my tire. I want to upgrade my tire to a you want to upgrade a tire. So let's say it's so with this function, you can call this function. Say I want to upgrade my tire to 22 inches. So v, then after you pass in after you call this function, if you can actually call this function in this way. Okay, you say after you create a Highlander v1, you can say v1 dot upgrade tire. Upgrade tire. You're passing a value, let's say 22, so that you upgrade a tire to 22 inches. Okay, so this provides a way for us to functions provides us a way to manipulate the data stored in class. Okay, like over here, say previously we create an object named title, and whose type is string, and here we can call the length function of the string class, which basically tells us how many characters is included in this sequence. Okay, so it will return an integer to you. Okay, so actually here in the first two subchapters of chapter 3, okay, it gives you a list. It teaches you how to use a list of functions provided by the string class. I'm not going to go down to the details of that, but so because it's not very hard. Okay, and then I'm just going to chapter 4. So in chapter 4, so the most important thing is over here called class definitions, because it basically teaches you how to create, how to define class by yourself. It's like how to design a car by yourself. Okay, and there are in chapter 4 still there are many subchapters, but in chapter 4 you only need to focus on the first 3 subchapters. You can totally forget about the last 4 subchapters to make your life easier. Okay, so so first let's say how to write a class. So I'm going to list the architecture of a class in Java. Okay, the way to define class is the very standard way to define a class in Java is like this: public class. Okay, so here public means that you want this class to be accessible by every other file. So you will have a better understanding of what does public mean later when you read the subchapters of the book. So, and then following by a keyword called class. This has to be this way. Okay, you have to give the to have this keyword class. It tells Java I want to create a new class, and then following that is a class name. Let's say we want to create a class name. Let's say Highlander, and usually the class name starts with a capital letter, and then we include everything else in a pair of brackets. Okay, it basically tells Java compiler that everything included in this pair of brackets is the definition of this class. So first, there are usually 2 parts included in a Java class. So the first part, I'm going to have more space, to use more space over here. Okay, the first type is called data variables. Okay, we call them member data variables. Or member variables. So basically, it tells you what kind of variables or what kind of values you want this class to hold. So for example, okay, we can say we want each Highlander object or each Highlander car has the following thing. Okay, first it's a string. We call them VIN number. Okay, because every car has a VIN number, and then we have integer tire size. Okay, and then we have another integer, let's say horsepower. Okay, so these are the member variables that you want to define. Say we want to include in this Highlander class, and then so we call them data variables or member data variables. And then, so this is the first set of content in a Java class, and following that is is another set of contents called functions. Okay, the first function that we want to define is called constructor. It's very important because every constructor should have this way. Okay, public, and following that is the class name. Okay, public Highlander. So it's the definition of this one. Okay, let's say we want to, so this is the default constructor because it comes with no parameter value. It comes with no parameters in the function. So let's say it basically teaches the Java how to initialize create a default Highlander. So let's say the default Highlander comes with a tire size, a tire whose size is 20 inches and whose horsepower is like 300. Okay, so it assigns the default value to that. But just in case, okay, so in this way, if you after the class definition, if you want to say I'll have a Highlander, you want to create the first vehicle Highlander and H1, meaning that the first Highlander. Okay, if you have it in if you have it in this way, Highlander. No, I'm going to write it out of the class to make it clear. Okay, out of the class to make it clear. We have this one. Okay, we have Highlander H1 equal to new Highlander. Okay, basically basically with this statement you are going to create a default Highlander with say 20 inches tire and 300 horsepower. Okay, but suppose here, okay, at the time when you created the Highlander, you want to customize that, because you want to assign a specific VIN number to it. So you can have a input parameter in the function. Let's say VIN number. Okay, and then so in this function, okay, you can say, okay, because I know the VIN number of this Highlander, so I'm going to assign it. So we have VIN equal to VIN number, and again we have tire size equal to 20 and horsepower equal to 300. So, and then over here you can just say, okay, I want to create another Highlander, but with a specific VIN number. Let's say we want to have Highlander H2. So, and then you can use the other constructor. Okay. So which comes a string with the string 11111, just for example. Okay. So then we're going to have another Highlander. H2 is going to be a Highlander with VIN number 11111 and 20-inch tire size and horsepower, 300 horsepower. Okay, so then these are the constructors. Constructors basically are a very special type of say functions, because first they're very essential, and plus they are used to create or to initialize a specific object. Okay, so next let's talk about some other things. Okay, we just finished the first part of the function. Functions, which are the constructors. Then let's look at some other function. Let's say someday you want to upgrade your tire, and you want to have a larger tire. So we have public void upgrade tire. An integer, let's say new size. Okay, So we define this function, this member function, and so okay, here with this function, let's look at the definition of this function. It has a type public, meaning that we want this function to be accessible by every other file, okay? And then void is the return type, okay? If you set it to void, basically it means that you want this function to return nothing. And then upgrade tire, okay? So it's the function name, and then following that is the input parameter. Again, we include this function in a pair of brackets, stating that, okay, everything included in this pair of brackets is the definition of the class. So let's say we have this one, okay? We have here we have tire size. We basically assign a new tire size to it, okay, equal to new size. Okay, and then with the help of this function, okay, if you call the function, if you call h2 dot upgrade tire 22, then so with this statement, okay, h2 is going to be assigned a new tire size, which is 22. Okay, we basically modify the variable in it. And suppose here, okay, sometime you lose track of how large is your tire size. You want to be able to figure it out. So then let's define another function whose return type is integer, because we wanted to return us the tire size of a vehicle, okay? So get tire size, we say get tire size, and this function, this member function, does not need any variable in it, input parameter in it. So it's just a return tire size. Okay, so if you have h2 dot get the tire size, okay, then this statement will return you 22, because we just modified the tire size to 22. Okay, so here I just introduced the two very essential parts of a definition of a class, which are the data variables and the functions. So a special type of member functions is called constructors. We use them to initialize or create objects, and the other type is called, we basically call them member functions. So which basically helps us to manipulate the member variables. Okay, so then that's the main thing that I want to introduce to you via the lecture, and this part is not included in either the slides or the textbook. So I want to introduce them in order to give you a better view of what is a class and what is an object in Java and how to create a class. Okay, so for the rest of the things, you can easily figure them out by reading the book and the slides. Okay, so have a productive week. Thank you.